My fragrance game has actually included me being in my 20s, getting oils from head shops and surf shops, burning incense, burning candles, and wearing patchouli oil just like I was born in the 60s. Today we're going to do something a little bit different with patchouli and talk about how sexy it is.
I finally found what I'm missing, and now you got all my attention. Driving me wild, got me wishing that you were all mine. You're irresistible, so refreshing. You're irresistible, tell the essence. I can feel your energy all over me. Close my eyes and I breathe in. You're irresistible.
Welcome back to Carolina Fragrance Reviews. I'm your host, Cam. If you're not subscribed to Carolina Fragrance Reviews, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button, activate that notifications bell, follow us on Instagram, and hit us up in our Facebook group, CFR Fragrance Lounge. Before we get things rolling with these sexy patchouli fragrances, I was doing a little research on patchouli, and I tell you what, that stuff was like, okay, we know what it did in the 60s, and you know, peace and love, peace not war, and all that good stuff, and a lot of, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's where a lot of people are using patchouli, you know, to actually cover that smell. But in actuality, there was a lot of holistic reasons, even in the 60s, believe it or not, and I'm not talking about medicinal, you know, hand in hand type thing. It's actually very therapeutic. It is for stress relief, for anxiety relief, a natural aphrodisiac, and a chi balancer. And it's also very sexy. But way back in the day, before the 60s of peace and love, hundreds of years back before that, the European settlers actually traded patchouli oil pound for pound with gold in the same intrinsic value. That's pretty fascinating. And it was also said or rumored that King Tut had 10 gallons of patchouli oil in his tomb. So, I mean, I don't know how important that would be to you, but I thought that was kind of fascinating. But I have rounded up 5 extremely sexy patchouli fragrances that would definitely get somebody's attention for you. First one up is a bottle that I lost the cap to. I'm not sure how or where, or I may have bought this as a partial, I don't remember. But that's neither here or there. This one is Bond No. 9 New York Patchouli. Now, as far as patchouli fragrances go, they can be, a lot of fragrances have patchouli in the base. This one is just like a very, very prominent note of patchouli in it. That's actually done really, really well. You can smell like some clean florals in there, and then as it dries down, you definitely get that gritty, earthy patchouli, but it's not real, you know, some people when you think of patchouli and like the 60s and patchouli oil and all that, it can be a bit overbearing. And this one is this is probably the strongest one out of the lot because patchouli is the dominant note in this fragrance. Let me go over the notes for you. The notes for New York Patchouli are cardamom, fresh ginger, grapefruit, nutmeg, patchouli, rose, purple orchid, amber, sandalwood, leather, musk, and oak moss. New York Patchouli is considered to be a unisex fragrance. It has fabulous performance, gives you a great scent bubble, smells great on a woman. I've smelled this one and I like the way it smells on myself. The next one up is definitely a man's fragrance. This is a patchouli that is for men. Now, I did mention about hundreds of years ago how valuable patchouli was, you know, actually like pound for pound with gold. A lot of times fragrances don't have that staying power. You know, there are a few of those that just are timeless, that will always work. You got to have Chanel Ignatius up in that stash. This is as manly as it gets. It's warm, it's sexy, it's vibrant, beast mode, and Chanel don't play around with their fragrances. Probably, if not the best, it's definitely in the top 2 or 3 designer brands as far as I'm concerned. I have a deep, deep, deep love and respect for Chanel as a brand, but for 1981, this house has been out a while and it does not smell dated, not one single bit. Let me read the notes to you. Audacious was released in 1981. The notes are lemon, lime, coriander, myrtle, clary sage, bergamot, thyme, basil, rose, jasmine, patchouli, castoreum, labdanum, and oak moss. Now I know talking about a fragrance, it is probably older than a whole lot of you watching, and maybe your dad may have had some swagger and had this in his stash, but I saw, like when I was a kid, I saw a lot of stuff like High Karate or English Leather or Byrd or stuff like that on my dad's dresser. I didn't see this one on there. Pops, you was missing out, brother. I'm gonna have to let you get a few sprays of this one, because this one is dynamite, and it don't matter how old or young you are. You got some cojones, man's man, this one's for you. While we're on the subject of timeless fragrances, let's talk about a timeless DNA, Acqua di Gio. But this is the Acqua di Gio Profumo Special Blend. Yeah, a lot of you have heard about the Profumo. This one has a lot of added incense and patchouli. It's much darker. This one is darker than the original Profumo. This one has insane performance, compliment magnet, super sexy. I don't think this fragrance gets talked about enough. Yes, it is that Acqua di Gio DNA, but if you liked the improvements of the Profumo and want it even darker, more depth, more masculine, that is all you need. Perfect for fall and winter. The only slight downside to Acqua di Gio Profumo Special Blend, this one isn't quite as easy to find. But if you look around on like Fragrance X or Fragrance Net, eBay, you should be able to round this up on one of sites like that. Not gonna be, probably not likely that you'll find it in your Macy's or Sephora or whatever, but not that hard to find. And if you're looking for that beast mode, super long performance with the Acqua di Gio DNA, this is definitely the best one of the lot in my personal opinion. I give this a 10 out of 10 on performance. Let's go over the notes. Acqua di Gio Profumo Special Blend was released in 2017. The notes are C notes, bergamot, geranium, rosemary, sage, patchouli, and incense. Okay, next one up is from a relatively new fragrance brand called Kirin NYC. This one is Nitra Noir. This was my absolute favorite when I actually did an interview with Mona, one of the owners, and we went over the fragrances. I did get a sample of this and later got a full bottle. Mona, thank you for everything that you do for me. I think that you're an amazing person. That is just a little side note in this, but this one right here was a special gem to me right out the gates. This is a very, very, very sexy little fragrance right here. This one smells great on a man or a woman. That's one of Kirin's things, like they go with genderless, something that's for everybody. You can't put an age on it or, gender, sex, whatever. This bad boy right here is a compliment, a savage, savage, savage compliment monster. Wonderful fragrance. Great performance, or so let's say decent performance, because it is a lighter patchouli, especially compared to the ones I've shown you before. This one will be the lightest out of the lot, but it's designed as one of those little sexy, flirty fragrances that you want to get up close and personal and smell. Like the first one, like the Bond patchouli, the New York patchouli, that one is much stronger, so I would go easy on the trigger on that one. This one you can spray a little bit more liberally because it's just so fruity and fresh. It's invigorating, it's energetic. It's everything that you would want with like a date night experience, but a date night experience with some excitement. The The vibe that you get off this thing is definitely intoxicating and hypnotic. Let me go over the notes. The notes for Nitra Noir are Italian bergamot, pink berries, orris, and patchouli. If you guys are not familiar with Kirin, their bottles go for like $78, which is really nice because it is, to my nose, more niche smelling, and for that type of price, for a $78 for something that you can spray a little more freely, not a bad deal. Cool bottle, cool brand, Nitra Noir. Something else I forgot to mention about patchouli is used in a lot of religious ceremonies and rituals and all that jazz. Kind of makes you think about psychedelic times with Pink Floyd playing in the background. 14-Hour Dream from Juicebox is inspired by Pink Floyd. Remember how I mentioned I lived my 20s out like I was living in the 60s basically? Yeah, I could have very easily been a flower child. But lots of fond memories, lots of good memories. Patchouli was part of that, but you know, you would think with the psychedelic times of Pink Floyd, and this is definitely a nod for that. Whew, this is a sexy, sexy, sexy fragrance. Juicebox just keeps like blowing my gourd. I had a sample of this like when I first started trying this house out. It was definitely one of my favorites, and like they have a lot of good fragrances. But I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. This is my favorite Juicebox perfume, however you wanna say it. We live in the South. Perfume, that's fine by me. A parfum is fine by me as well. Whatever you want to call it, this right here is straight freaking fire. I got this one off my buddy Near Guy at Perfumology, and he and I like talking about Juicebox because we both like music, we both love fragrance. This is the best of both worlds and a really cool presentation. I've heard people say that this is a tacky presentation. Man, you guys ain't got no rhythm in your blood talking that action, man. This is a cool, thick bottle with cool colors and psychedelic stories with great music behind it, man. Come on, man. Y'all stick in the muds playing daggone Fortnite and stuff instead of like listening to music. Get with it, for real though. Okay, I'm gonna quit talking to you like I'm your dad. I'm gonna go ahead and go over the notes. The notes for 14-Hour Dream are saffron, vanilla flowers, ginger, patchouli leaves, orris butter, black pepper absolute, cedarwood, sandalwood, and gaiac wood. This one has beastly projection, beastly performance, sexy as hell. I love this. I absolutely love this. So any of you who have not got your nose on that or any of these other ones I've shared with you, guys, to get on it. Get on it and get it handled. Sexy time patchouli fragrances I just shared with you. I just gave y'all some mad tips. It's up to you what you do with it. That's gonna wrap it up for our sexy patchouli date night fragrances. Whatever you do, be disruptive. Wear what you want, when you want. Have fun. If you're not subscribed to Carolina Fragrance Reviews, hit that subscribe button, activate that notification bell, smash that like button, leave us some comments down below, and we'll see you next time on Carolina Fragrance Reviews.